Hi, Jake Smith for the House of Rohl here. In this video, I will show you how to install the rough, flush the valve, and install the cartridge and trim. As I do this, I will highlight some of the great features and benefits of the R51 pressure balance system with volume control. The R51 is unique as it offers pressure balance control and also has volume control. The valves are solid brass and made in Canada. You may order the valve in half-inch NPT, PEX, or expansion PEX connections. On all of the valves, the hot inlet is always at that 9 o'clock position and the cold inlet is at the 3 o'clock position. The R51 can be installed in back-to-back installations, but each rough must have its own water supply. The cartridge cannot be turned 180 degrees if the lines are reversed. This is the stud bay. This model is wood, but you may see installations in the field of metal 2x4s. The first feature I want to speak about is the plastic guard that protects the valve after installation and during the mounting of the solid surface or tile. A plumber will estimate the finished wall and then move the stringer accordingly. The installation depth is a generous 2 inches minimum and 3 1/4 inches maximum, and if needed, there are 3/4 inch and 1 1/4 inch extension kits. The guard has indications that clearly show the minimum and the maximum measurements. The R51 is also similar to the R23 rough. They have the same number of inlets and outlets, however, they are not compatible. The R51 service stops are in the open position when you remove it from the box. The stops are open when the slotted receiver is at 3 and 9 o'clock, and then closed when you rotate it to 12 and 6 o'clock. You will notice that there is a service plug that allows for flushing of the valve prior to the installation of the actual pressure balance cartridge. The cartridge will be supplied with the trim. This is a service-saving step that prevents the cartridge from being damaged prior to flushing. So what we're going to cover today is how to sweat a connection and what the procedures are as far as removing the parts and pieces that may be damaged by heating the valve. The R23, the R45, and the R51, they all share the same type of stop. This stop is held in with small clips. It's very easy to remove these clips, remove the service plug, and then make your sweat connections. The R23, the R45, and the R51 all share something which is good for the installer. There are installation mounts called dog ears that are on the valve, placed at 11 o'clock and 5 o'clock respectively. The valve itself was designed with a flat back so that you could screw this down onto the stringer and then adjust the stringer into the wall for the correct depth. Meant to work in a 2x4 wall, this is a quality valve. So now let's review what we need to do to make a sweat connection. First of all, you have to remove all the bits that may be damaged by the heat. As you can see, you have some rubber parts here, and then you have the plastic service plug. They could be distorted or damaged so that they wouldn't work properly. So you've seen that I've already removed the hot side stop, removed the spring clip. Next, we are going to remove the service plug, and then finally, we are going to remove the cold side clip. These are spring clips that come off easily with needle nose pliers, and then once the clip comes off, we remove the entire stop. Now we're ready to make that sweat connection. The valve was designed so that the inlets would accept a 1/2-inch copper tube. The installer or plumber would make his sweat connections. Now with the sweat connection made, we've already installed the hot side stop and retaining clip that's here. Next, we put in the service plug and spin on the nut. And then finally, we insert the cold side stop with the slotted screw being at 9 and 3 o'clock respectively. Final step here is to put in the clip that holds in everything. The clip is easily manipulated with a pair of needle nose pliers. Once everything is back together again, we're ready to install it into the stud bay. First, let's remove the mud guard and pack a rag or material around the valve to prevent water from getting into the wall. Leave room to access the service stops. The reason there is a service plug is to allow the installer to remove the plug and flush the valve, then install the cartridge. The cartridge is designed to last 5 to 7 years with normal use, but will quickly fail if debris is allowed into the cartridge through an unflushed hot or cold inlet. Verify the stops are in the off position. They should be at 12 and 6 o'clock respectively. Then remove the nut using a wrench and using a cloth to avoid being sprayed by any pressure that might be left in the line. After the nut is off, remove the plug and discard it. Next, we will flush the valve. Plug the area around the valve with a cloth similar material. Leave the stops exposed, and the factory suggests flushing the valve for 20 seconds. We will not do that today, but we will open and close the valves fully so you can see how that operation is done. The cartridge has 2 stages. The green portion of the cartridge is the double action valve that opens and closes and then provides volume control. The black portion of the cartridge is called the puck, and this is where the pressure balancing spool is. Connected together, you will see on the back side of the puck there are 2 centering pins that fit into 2 slots inside the cartridge cavity itself. Once you know that it is seated properly, install the nut and turn hand tight until it stops. And this is probably the most important part of the installation. Factory recommends drawing a line on the housing and drawing a line on the cartridge, and then tightening the cartridge 1/4 turn, or as you can see with the marks, from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Close the cartridge, open up the service stops, check for any leaks, make sure that everything is fine, and then I suggest you toggle open the cartridge to make sure that you have water coming through. Once the back plate or the clip plate has been installed and the screws have been secured, then we install the cartridge housing. You will notice on the cartridge housing that there is a small hole. Position this small hole at 6 o'clock and slide into place. What holds the housing sleeve in place is the cartridge finished dome. Screw this into place, just hand tight. You don't have to over tighten that. And then we install the trim plate itself. This trim plate for the R51 has no marks on it except for the logo, and we place that logo at 6 o'clock. The final step is to install the cartridge handle. You will see underneath the dome there is the Allen key, and to access that, directly behind the lever itself is a hole. Slip that piece on and then tighten the Allen key from below. What's unique about the R51 is that it has volume control. You pull on the handle to turn it on. You swivel it to 4 o'clock for cold water and to 7 o'clock for hot water. But in between, you can adjust the volume for your installation. You're seeing it with a shower head installation, but you could install a tub filler on this. That tub filler would just have to have a diverter built into the tub spout.